bike. So it's yeah, I love mountain biking, especially around here. There's so many awesome places to ride.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday the 13th. It is, huh?
Friday the 13th.
That's my favorite. I'm John Bliss, the host for the evening for the Wasatch Way Podcast. You guys know my hetero life mate over here, Jeremy Osman. And I'm over here fanboying because we've got Johnny Adolphson and his wonderful wife, Sherry.
Hi.
They're here to talk about the Wasatch Back Art Festival, the photography, the brand new showroom. You know, I'm not going to take over everything. So go ahead and just introduce yourself, explain a little bit about how you got to Heber and how you got into just doing the incredible things that you do.
Sure. Well, yeah, you know, Sherry and I met in Orem, got married and lived in Orem. We moved up to Heber Valley in 1995. And then 98, I apologize.
So we just talked about this.
I always get a different number. 98, we were working seasonal jobs in the ski industry and gardening, and I was wildland firefighting. And about 2011, one of my hobbies kind of turned into a passion with photography, and I started working to sell my art. It originally started as a side hustle, trying to just afford gear while raising two small kids and getting by. And that side job turned into what's now a full-time career for both of us. And we've been full-time for about 3 years now. I still do a little ski guiding in the winter, but other than that, selling art's what we do, and it's been a great progression. And so that's when we left our jobs, we really started hammering out the art shows and the vendor markets, and really started hitting the streets with the art, with the photography. And and we've always found that I love to travel to shows and go to new places, but really some of our best business and our best customers are local, right here in the valley in Heber City, and within an hour's drive of here. And there's really not a lot of high-end juried art shows in the Wasatch Back. We've got Kimball, we've got the Utah Arts Festival in Salt Lake. There's various vendor markets and whatnot. So, and really with the boom and the housing and all the folks moving in and the people just that have lived here there's a need for local art. And so we kind of came up with the idea of the Wasatch Back Art Festival a couple of years ago. And just as something to really kind of bring an art show to our local community here in Heber City. So we started last summer in Heber City Park. It was a good event. We did 2 days last year. This year we're doing a 3-day event in the Heber City Park, July 25th, 26th, 27th. We've already got about 41 artists, local artists.
Wow.
For Heber. We're sitting at about 29 for Midway right now. Midway's close to filling up. We'll only do about 37 artists with the size of the town square we're working in. But the Heber City Park is a great venue, especially with the new stage that's about to be done. And right there on Main Street last year, people were, we had signs along the street, and people were seeing the signs and pulling over, and hey, I just saw the sign, and coming over. So that's kind of how the art festival started, and our business kind of grew from a side hustle to a full-time career selling art that we're in now. And that has we've always been working just out of the tent and through our social media and doing our in-home consultations where we bring art to people's home. But we're always being asked, well, do you have a store? Do you have a studio? And there's not a lot of outdoor shows going on in the winter. So we are really excited about the new Johnny Adolphson Photography Gallery.
Yes,
it's going to be opening on 37 East, 100 North, in the old firehouse building, building that Rodrigo Ballin bought and rebuilt a couple of years ago. And just everything in the new rebuild is top notch. We're right there on the ground floor. Nice window space. Folks will be able to drive by and pull over, and you'll see the art in the light even when we're not there. And it's 3 blocks from our home in Heber, so I'm looking forward to being able to ride my bike over to the gallery. And
now you're going to ride your bike over. Is that when she's not riding it?
when she's not our one bike.
Your one bike.
Our one bike.
We have town bikes.
We better
We just only have one mountain bike.
we better invest in like a 2-up bike for you, so you both can get to work.
Just see if there's a tandem in a basket.
Some people could do a tandem bike. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think I
I don't know if we're.
There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know if my left means her right.
Yeah.
That's really a good way to
No,
say
but
it.
we do have one mountain bike and a couple of town bikes. But yeah, that's what's nice about Heber is it's flat. You can get most anywhere in town on a bicycle.
Yeah.
All right, so the new art store, I'm going to put a pin in that really quick. Let's go back to that Wasatch Back Art Festival. Now, you guys had 2 different ones going on this year versus the one that you had last year, correct?
That's correct. There was a show in Midway that's been happening called Art Around the Square. We have the woman who's been running that. It's getting to be quite a bit for her with the heat in July and stuff like that. And she was excited to hear that we had started our company in the show in Heber, and so she invited us to take over running the show in Midway as well.
So that same weekend, right? That July 4th
that
weekend.
exact same weekend, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Pretty much the same show that you've seen for the past 4 years in the town plaza there out on the grass, Art Around the Square, but it's now going to be the Midway Wasatch Back Art Festival. So for folks that have come down to the Art Around the Square for the last few years, we've got a great lineup of local artists and really a pretty similar show to what you've seen in the 4 years, but great art, local folks, and that one is happening July 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the Midway Town Plaza, right down the street here.
I love it. Now, I heard you guys are going to have buskers for music.
Yeah, that's correct. We've got.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, we've got some buskers, just kind of keeping the kind of acoustic, kind of mellow, more of an art show type vibe. We've got buskers for Midway, and we're not doing much else. There's so many great local restaurants right here in Main Street in Midway that we're not doing too much else. In the Heber show on July 25th, 26th, and 27th, we've got some more buskers lined up. Saturday night, we've got a band that's going to be playing on the stage, and that's the Mountain Town Band, and we've had some help from Alicia Stockman and some local folks helping coordinate the buskers and coordinate the musicians, and we're excited to bring some music to the festival so people can come down, they can shop for art, they can check out the local tents and the booths, and they can sit on the grass and get some enjoy some music. And also we've got Meg's Timberline Cafe. She worked with us last year at the Heber Valley Festival and served up some great food. And
she has the best flowers.
The steak burger. Yeah. I love those steak burgers. Yeah, but Meg is back with us. It was Meg's Timberland Cafe at the Heber City Show, and we're excited to have Meg back. And so, come on down, sit on the grass, listen to some music, get some food from Meg's, and check out all the amazing local art.
Now, with the Heber City Show, that backs up to the start of Fair Days.
It does.
So if you're looking for something to do before the Crash 'em Up Derby and everybody's local favorite, come check out the art, and then go watch people beat things up.
Yeah. The show starts noon to 5 on July 25th,
Friday.
Which is Friday.
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on both the 26th and 27th. So there's plenty of time before the Demolition Derby and all those events to swing by the art show. And last year we had quite a few folks from out of town stopping in at the art show before they went over to the Derby and whatnot.
I'll have to check that out because I'm only a few blocks away now.
Oh, yeah, you are. That's nice.
You can ride your bike.
I can ride my bike. I better ride my bike.
One of us can ride a bike. We'll see.
We can bring the scooter. I got
There we go.
Scooters tomorrow. So I guess off of the events that you're doing, I mean, I have a fascination. I grew up here. I grew up in Charleston, so I looked at Temp every morning, and I have a fascination with Temp. And I think I stopped and told you there's some of your, I don't want to say they're mirrored, but they're on metal.
Yeah. Yep.
My goal is to get like one that would fit from there to there, all the way down, just giant photo of Tim.
That would be cool.
Oh, that's my goal.
This guy can make
it. You gotta have a goal.
Yeah.
Timpanogos was kind of where it started for me as a local photographer. When back in 2011, when I was kind of getting serious about my photography, I would go down to Deer Creek and I would see these reflections of Timpanogos in the water there. And I remember that first shot I got to Lake of Fire where I was like, oh my gosh, this is really pretty cool.
You get the sunsets behind Temp. It's pink or red, gold, whatever. And then if the water's glass, it just reflects off.
Those reflections are just amazing. Yeah. That was one of the first things I really started photographing in our valley was Timpanogos, and to this day, it never gets old.
Yeah.
Love shooting Timpanogos.
So I guess take Temp out of the running. Where's like one of your most favorite other than Temp?
Other than Temp.
Uh-oh.
No, you know.
Okay.
I mean, around here, I just love all the local rural scenes and the North Fields in the valley. And really some of my best shots have been just out on a bike ride with the camera or thinking I'm going to photograph Timpanogos and finding something along the way. That winter scene I shot outside of Midway here going towards the church, where Snake Creek comes in. That was a place I drive by all the time, and normally it's pretty underwhelming. But that one day I went to Deer Creek to shoot Timpanogos, and it was foggy. I couldn't get a shot, so I thought I was going home empty-handed, and I drove by the old Snake Creek there and saw that frosty tree and the white fog isolating the scene, and I ended up getting one of my best performing images, and it was right here in the valley, right near our home, and it was something I hadn't even planned on.
So outside, I guess I should have meant outside of Heber Valley.
Well, I love to photograph the Eastern Sierra. The Wind River Mountains. I love my time in the mountains and also the desert Southwest. And I've always been a desert rat. And then I worked for 5 years at a Canab running photo tours and photo workshops. And so really I've got a love for the desert Southwest, and I love our local haunts too, like the San Rafael Swell. All the tourists like to come from out of town.
Do you ever have an itch to go set up outside of Skinwalker Ranch and just see if you can find anything creepy wandering around?
After starting the show, I don't know if I was
just curious. I
don't know if I even made it through the whole series, but
after a few,
we were curious, and I never drove by, but I remember we were talking about it when I was out there. Yeah. I have photographed Fantasy Canyon. Night, that little piece of BLM land that's out there, really cool. But I try to do night photography. And I was getting a lot of light pollution from the oil wells out there. But I have not staked out Skinwalker Ranch yet.
Two things. One, Megan Bliss commented that the lake you posted today was stunning.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a hike I did just 2 nights ago, and
it's crazy how fast you put those out then.
Yeah,
it doesn't take you that long to
edit. Some of my, if I nail everything right in my editing, and really, what I shoot, I try to, so what I'm looking at is the picture you see. Yeah. I don't like to get too crazy with the editing. And I obviously, some of my shots, like I had a shot of the Northern Lights in the Uintas 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And that one was a joint we're working together, and that took a couple hours between sharing, putting all the images together, because I shot multiple images for the sky, stacked those in a third-party software, did a long exposure, a 5-minute shot for the foreground, which I didn't have any lights and there wasn't much moonlight, but luckily there's still all the snow. Yeah. And that snow was reflecting the sky. So with a 5-minute exposure, I was able to get a good shot. Those shots are a lot more involved with the post-processing. Yeah. And I love to come home and just post something when the emotion is still fresh. Yes. When I can still feel like that sunset burning on my face. But oftentimes I wake up the next morning and do another re-edit of the one that goes on the site. So I love to fire them off and share what I'm experiencing on social media. But oftentimes the one I post it, then I wake up the next morning and redo it a little bit if it's going to go. And also I shoot so much on my website. I've got in our collection, we've got maybe 500 to 600 images that I keep on the site. I'm constantly calling the site, replacing ones that have done something better. But whether it's going on the site or I'm planning on making money on the image or not, I just love sharing the beauty. And
well, you definitely have a talent. I can't take 100%. Anything like that.
I got to say, one of my favorite photos of yours, and you don't have to reveal its location because I know it's secret, but the arch on Deer Creek. Oh, and my favorite
I have never.
That is my favorite thing because it raises so much controversy. Every time you post it, I'm like, I just sit back and I watch and I just laugh and I'm like, this is the best.
Well, the arch is real.
It is real.
And it might not be the biggest arch, and stuff, but it is real. I stumbled across it a few years ago. I'm just hiking along the shoreline. It's in a pretty inaccessible place, just because it's not really a trail or anywhere rocky. But yeah, I love that must be AI or Photoshop.
No,
But I think especially during the last few winters when the lake's been high, the water splashes on that arch during the winter when the lake doesn't freeze. And so it may not have been as prominent, 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. And I imagine, sometime it's going to crumble and fall over. But yeah, the Deer Creek Arch is I found this and I was like, wow, what a cool composition. And I kind of figured out how to, get just the right angle to get a little bit of Timpanogos with the arch. And I think my favorite shot with that arch is a vertical because you get a little bit of flowing water leading into the arch. Yes. But yeah, it's a really cool little find. And I know like my buddy Brent Haddock, he's got a couple shots of it and stuff. And but yeah, it's out there. And
anybody who wants to claim that's AI has never tried. Like, I'm on AI generating images and videos and things like that a lot, and you cannot get AI to generate Timpanogos at all. And if you try to get it to, it can come close. But anybody who knows Timp, you can tell.
Yeah,
it's wild. So for people to say, like, oh, that's AI, no. AI is not that good yet.
So you do a lot of nature, mountains and stuff like that. Do you do animals? Do you try to?
I'd like to do more animals. My specialty is Utah landscape photography, scenery. But most of my landscape photography looks like a Bigfoot sighting. You can see something brown and hairy taking off in the woods. You can't really tell what it is.
Were you out there running around? I was going to say, you're in the field and John's out there, so don't.
No, I've got a few I've got a few landscape or animal shots and wildlife, a few bears, a few elk, but it's definitely not my specialty, and it's something I'd love to do more of.
Do you? And I don't know if I've looked lately. Do you do anything in Yellowstone?
I don't know if I have much on the website from Yellow. I have a bison. I have a black and white bison in the middle of the road from Yellowstone, and I've shot up there plenty. But again, I was
going to say, I guess landscape. You have done some stuff.
Yeah, I've done some stuff with the geysers and the what is it? That pool, and the prismatic spring, the real popular geyser. My best shot from Yellowstone's a bison coming down the road. I was in our little Subaru with our kids in the back, and I saw the bison, and there's kind of a traffic jam. Mm-hmm. Then it was my turn to turn left, and I was like, oh, perfect. So I turned left in front of the bison, stuck my camera out the window at this thing, took a picture, and then I was like, oh, geez, don't make eye contact. That thing could have rolled our Subaru.
I was going to say, that's when he said, hey, kids, go out there and pet it. Get a picture of you.
I wanted to hop out the sunroof.
Yeah.
So, isn't that wild? Do you see people do that, though? Like, this doesn't click in people's head. Like, these aren't like pets.
Yeah. These aren't like what's over on Stringtown Road over
here.
These
aren't quite as friendly as the Highland cows.
Yes. Yes. So,
I love Yellowstone. It's just such a treat every time we get to go out there.
We blasted through Yellowstone in 48 hours once, trying to hit all the stops that we possibly could. I do not recommend it, but it was cool for a weekend getaway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's great. I love it up there.
Now, as far as the art festivals are concerned, are you guys full as far as art booths? Are you guys looking for more people?
We have about 8 spots left. 8 spots left for Midway. Heber, what did we say?
We could
up to 60. We've got plenty of room for Heber still.
Perfect.
Yeah, Heber, we have more room than Midway. We've got a bigger venue.
Now with Midway, is it just because you're using that corner in front of the trees right there?
Yeah, so we're kind of working with the same parameters. We've got from the sidewalk of the community center over to the road by Spruce, the trail. Yep. And then we're cutting right at the corner of the building. That's our cutoff because they have the Saturday yoga. So we're leaving half of that field for the Saturday yoga, and then the Midway Farmers Market's going on between the community center
I forget about the Midway Farmers Market. I forget about that.
And
so
then
there's
the pancake breakfast will happen.
Yeah, so and so we've gone over and kind of stepped it out and kind of have a layout which we think will be perfect, where not too crowded. We'd like to obviously get as many artists in there as we can because there's a local artists excited
Yeah.
about showing their work. But we've still got 8 spots left for Midway.
Gotcha.
So
How
for
about that?
those of you watching at home, on the screen right now, I have a picture of the websites. And in the chat, I put the URL, wasatchbackartfestival.com. That's where you're going to want to go to get the email, sign up. And if you're interested in volunteering, if you're interested in being a vendor, things like that, email the website from there, and that'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
For lack of better words.
Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, that's great.
Perfect. And so we've talked about food, we've talked about music. Is there anybody who's returning this year that you just are super excited to see at the festival?
Well, in Midway, he may be in both. We've got Marty Ricks, a real Russian impressionist painting. Really excited to see Marty back. We've got quite a bit of new artists. We have Shelley Coleman, a painter who
Yes.
specializes in these water drops and windshields and just really neat stuff. We've got is Angie coming back?
Mhm.
Yeah. We got Angie Bison with her hand painted trucker hats.
Yes.
This is a different one, but she actually paints the images on the trucker hats. They're really awesome. Maria Raze, a painter, who quite a few that I'm
So
excited
many.
about.
That's so cool.
And some of the really
Well, and you guys are gonna say you guys don't. It's not just portraits on a wall. It's
it's basically. I mean, we're to the point where we're kind of vetting everybody that we want this to be fine art, handmade or hand painted. If you're a photographer, it's your photographs. If you're a painter, you've painted the work. If it's woodwork, it's your work.
Yeah.
We've got some woodworkers.
Glasswork,
Frank Huchek
statuary.
from in Heber City, just high-end
Jewelry.
handmade furniture and woodwork. He's got a shop in Heber, really cool. Jewelry, if it's same thing, if it's a jeweler, you're making the jeweler. We're not
No resales.
no resales.
Yeah.
We're not looking for people that are buying a bunch of rings somewhere and coming to sell
Yeah.
them. So this is for local artists and crafts people to create and sell their own work,
Yep.
and we're really
Sorry.
excited about
they're
connecting
not
those
gonna
people
let
with
you
the
in with a
community.
graffiti can.
I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
terrible at graffiti.
I mean,
You need to see my handwriting. I'm
there's like a $4 million banana taped to a wall that sold at like an auction,
I saw
Sotheby's
that.
auction last year.
Is that the one that they do a commercial on it? It's got the Kardashian mom and what's his bucket quarterback, Tom Brady, and he eats the
He ate the
ate the banana, and she's like, security. I did see that. I thought it was
a
just
$4 million
It was
banana.
a $4 million banana.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
Hey, I might be able to
what
get
is
an
art?
apple and stake it to the wall. And,
My understanding too is you guys have space for nonprofits, a 501c3 if they would like,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
at the
we'll have to
Heber
get
Park, we had a couple of nonprofits last year, and we're leaving some space
some- Yeah,
available
people
for
from the community would love to
those folks. So if
make it
you are a nonprofit and involved in something like that, we may have some space for you at the Heber Show on the 25th, 26th, and 27th in Heber City Park.
We just had on a 501c3 last week, right?
Yeah, yep. we did.
Wasatch Back Devastation Relief.
Yep. Then we've had the White Heart Foundation.
They're incredible. I ran into him at the grocery
Yeah.
store. He's such a cool guy.
So we've heard from Johnny. We want to hear from, Cherry?
Yeah, Sherry.
So what is your role in this whole thing? You can say it. He takes all the pictures. You do all the work.
I do a lot of the background work, order,
Is this
tracking.
So you guys got married, and he started taking pictures. Is art something that you gravitated towards before you got married, or is it?
We got married pretty young, but I've always been into, art. I'm more of a, I guess, nature lover. I love gardening. I love, living out
I like
the land.
gardening too. It's just a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It doesn't happen very much for me. But really, I mean, I look around, and like around Dairy Keene and different areas, a garden could be, or
Oh, yeah, those
flower
are fun.
beds could be some
Yes.
form of art.
Yes. And
So-
that is a fun form of art for me.
I need
sure.
somebody to come have some fun art around my house because I don't have anything. So,
No, we've been fortunate to work together, and there's so many
Yep.
things that I can't do, and I don't
Yeah.
have. I've got a very limited skill set, and Sherry's got quite a broad skill set, and that encompasses a lot of stuff I couldn't even touch.
Well, and it's again though is look at how many people. I mean, I know John works with his wife.
Yeah.
My wife works with me 6 months a year. I tell everybody she manages my business in the
Right.
winter, but by time spring comes, she's done and she's ready to go run her business. And then once she gets done running her business, she likes me again. She'll come back working up 6 months. But
Perfect.
working with your spouse, there's some
Yeah.
people that just can't do it,
Yeah.
and I've seen that.
Oh yeah.
I seen that early on in my marriage when me and Anna worked together.
Yeah. I can work great with my wife. My wife struggles with me, but that's my
Yeah.
fault.
I think that's probably every wife's issue. Is,
Yeah.
you know. So.
No, it's cool. It's super rewarding. You know, working together, family, turning it into a
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
business, and working together to run it. It's
So you said you were raising 2 young kids. How old are your
They're
kids
older
now?
now.
they're older now, 19 and 16. So they're taller than
They're
I
a
am,
handful.
and They're a handful.
No, they're doing.
Yeah.
They're great.
They're
They're
actually
really
really
great.
helpful with the art
Yeah.
business too. My oldest son Toby has a woodshed in our garage, and he does some framing work for us.
Yeah.
He was just over installing our hanging system in the gallery
Oh,
earlier.
okay.
Oh, so
He
cool.
works
He's our handyman.
full time he's going to school to be a journeyman electrician and
Oh,
working
cool.
full time and out of high school to get there. And he and his girlfriend are just doing great, and they're
Sweet.
both just working away. But they're all really helpful with the business and
Yep.
setting up the tent and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's huge. They're plenty busy with their own stuff, but they're always very
Take
helpful.
the time to help when we need them.
Yeah,
That's good.
family business.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
So the new gallery, 100 North, 37 East. You guys signed, was getting ready to go in, and that road construction started.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
You know, it's all good. We're in our busiest season
We
right now
weren't
with the
ready.
shows and
Yeah.
stuff. So, and it was kind of an opportunity that I didn't really see it coming, and basically,
Just fell in your lap.
yeah, he
Yeah,
called us the
it's like-
night before, and we were over there signing the lease the next day, and I'm super psyched because it's just the perfect space for us and a great location. And but yeah,
It
with
is
And
the
we
with
fortunately have enough art, that we were able to get some on the walls.
yeah, we put
quickly.
some stuff on the walls today. Just to
Quick, print this.
But,
We're gonna get this on the wall.
With the road closed, we'll probably have a locals only soft opening once we get it kind of set up. And then as we get it kind of fine tuned, we've got an order out on some big acrylics and stuff like that. And as the road gets closer to opening, we'll plan our grand opening event. And
Keep an eye out for that.
yeah, either I'm not sure of the exact timeline with the road, but with or without the road, we'll have a grand opening party, and excited to invite the community over for that.
Yeah.
Once we get a little.
Maybe Jeremy can purchase his mobile satellite, and we could do a live
on location.
Live on location.
Oh, yeah,
that's
that'd be
something.
great.
That's something we've always wanted
Oh.
to do was do
Starlink.
Starlink,
And be able
and
to
then
go
we
on
could be able
location.
to go mobile
Oh, nice.
and stuff. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what? I could build one of my trailers out, and we could have a mobile studio.
One of your 20
Like a
trailers. yeah.
news,
Mm,
a
you know.
news van.
What's that?
A news trailer.
Yeah, we could have we could be Heber City's local news.
I'm sure
It's the
Heber City's-
Wasatch Way. All right.
Heber City's probably already so sick of us. Like, great, now they're going to be mobile.
Great. They're going to show up in my front door when I cut this tree down and ask why you cut that tree down.
Did you get the proper coating? Permits.
Did you get a permit for that?
Do you need a permit to cut a tree down?
I don't know.
I hope not, because I cut a really big pine tree down on the south side of my house. And it wasn't as bad. We lived in Craig, Colorado for about 8 years, and there was a big pine tree in the front yard. And it was a pretty good sized pine tree. And I'm not a fan of pine trees because 1, kills grass, 2, it's pine needles. So we cut this tree down. This was must have been like a national treasure for Craig,
Probably.
Colorado, because we had literally 300
So
cars
that's why
driving
you
by
moved.
while we were.
Oh, gee.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
exactly. And then this one in our south side of our yard was leaning towards the property, and I just knew a microburst would come up and knock that thing down
Oh,
and take
yeah.
out a house. So,
Yeah.
but that's where the deck is going. So,
We've got a big box elder in our
Oh,
backyard, and
yeah.
that thing, when they shed limbs, they shed the whole limb.
yeah,
And I remember
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was like, what? It sounds like a truck's driving by out front. Really, it was one of those limbs
Well,
slowly
coming-
falling over on our house.
Slowly falling onto
Got
the
out
Yeah.
with the chainsaw and cut that off. But yeah, there's
yeah.
all sorts of trees in Heber City.
I think Dad, there was one that got hit by lightning up from us and in Charleston, and he got it and planted it in the ground, and now it's a huge tree.
Oh wow!
And it was just a
cool.
limb. He just planted it.
Oh,
Stuck in the
that's
ground and
awesome.
it's rooted.
Yeah,
Really
rooted.
cool.
Leave it to Frank.
Leave it to Frank.
Leave it to Frank.
So for those of you following along at home, in the chat, I have entered in links for the Facebook events for both the Midway show and the Heber City show. I've also put in the website for Wasatch Back Art Festival. I've tagged Johnny and his photography page. So go through there, like all these things, follow them, keep up to date with us on what's coming up. And again, they have room for a 501c3. They have rooms for more fine arts if you have them available. Huge shout out to Meg's Timberline Cafe.
Yeah.
Huge shout out. She's pretty cool.
She crushed it last year.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was really good food and just like everything's always perfect with Meg.
Is it like a yard sale? When you do art festivals, is it like a yard sale where it's like all the really good stuff goes first?
No.
Not necessarily,
Or do people
because
slowly put out more through time?
you know what I noticed is at last year's festival is compared to like the local farmers market, the crowd size is way down from the farmers market, but there were actually people buying art, and you know it all there's always different price tags and different things that appeal to different people. So what maybe one person, you know, so I wouldn't say that the good stuff goes quick.
No.
I think there's plenty of good stuff throughout the show, and a lot of these artists, they have you know, they'll have
Well, and
something.
it's relative, yeah. Like I might fall in love with something that you would never want to
Yeah.
buy.
And that's why, you know, one thing I do in these shows, I always try to have something, you know, for everyone. You know,
Yeah.
you know, like I've got my $5 note cards, my $30 trucker hats, and then we've got the big, you know, limited edition, $10,000 acrylics and everything
they
in
got
between.
the limited edition Temp that's one print that I want to buy and I can't afford it. Because I walk by
You do need to get a tip of
when
notice.
he's at Swiss Days or one of those. I
Yeah.
do walk by and I'm like, oh, I really wish I could get that Temp.
You do
But
have
yeah, and
beautiful
most
stuff.
artists are like that too. I found that walking around, it seemed like most people had something for everybody.
Yeah.
Most of the artists are, you know, pretty wide range of prices. There's stuff you can show up, and you know, there's cash and carry type items and treasures up to large, massive pieces of art. They'll have to coordinate a delivery and installation for, and kind of everything in
A couple
between.
bronze sculptures that, you know, $40,000 bronze sculpture versus, you know,
Yeah,
$5
they do that.
Versus the little small one that sits on the table for
Yeah.
$100 and it's this big rather than
So one of the cool things you guys do, though, is if somebody has a space in their home and they want basically a consultation, you'll go to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a huge part of our business for the past couple of years, and folks have found that really helpful for us to help with make the decision. And so we'll, you know, I don't have everything that's on the website here in Heber City, Utah, but I've got quite a bit, and we can come over. We can bring similar sizes. I can show the different mediums, the metal prints on the mid gloss or the high gloss, the acrylics. We can hold stuff up. We can suggest pieces. We can help with sizing, and we can take a look at how the finishes look. And people have really found it's helpful. It's one thing to look at art in the tent or the gallery space that we're going to have, as opposed to actually, you know, holding it up and seeing it in your home and like, yep, that fits, that matches the carpet, that matches the couch. And people have been really grateful for that. And that's something, even with the gallery we're open, we'll continue to do that, because it's been one way or another, we guarantee all the big prints we sell. So for me, we'd rather come over and try to get it right
make
the first
sure
time.
it fits rather than
We back up every print we sell. We're local artists. We work word of mouth in a small community, and so it's important to us to get the right art in people's homes, and we back up every print we sell. But yeah, we do everything we can do to help with the selection process and to make sure people choose the right art.
So you guys go into somebody's home and say I don't want to say sell, or they have some art that they want to hang in different places plus yours. Who hangs it? Do you guys hang it, or do you hire somebody to hang it?
No, we've got some contacts for that stuff. I mean, we are not professional art hangers. I'm all
Neither am I.
thumbs. I can push the button on a camera, maybe post on Facebook or something, but I am that's not my skill. We have connections that we can hook people up with. We have done some installations here and there, but it's not something our specialty is making the art and selling the art.
We just finished a job over in Park City for a gal, and she restores art.
Oh,
I guess I would say. Bree Klug. Do you know Bree?
I recognize the name, but there's a few Brees.
Parks. I think it's Park City Mat and Frame. I'm probably getting it
Okay.
wrong, and I'm going to
yeah, I'm not sure if I know her or not. That sounds familiar.
But because I was like, what do you do? And went upstairs, and literally, if there's somebody that has a painting that's got a
Needs to be
scuff,
repaired.
she
Cool.
That's
fixes it.
Touches it
Oh,
up.
Touches it
great.
up and
That's awesome.
Repairs
Yeah.
holes occasionally.
repairs holes occasionally.
cool.
That would be my problem.
Oh,
Repaired holes.
Yeah.
I was moving it and poked a hole in it, and my wife had, come undone. But so, all right.
Is there anything else that you guys want to make sure we get out there about the art festivals or the art store?
Oh gosh, we talked about the in-home consultations. We've got our 2 shows coming up. The first one in Midway, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Midway Town Square. And then we've got our second show in Heber City Park, July 25th, 26th, and 27th. Those are the 2 art shows. We talked a little bit about our art business. It's a small family business. Sherry and I do together. We're Heber City locals. We talked about the in-home consultations we do. It's a service we offer. Our new gallery we're opening on 37 East, 100 North. That'll be open soon.
Super excited.
Talked about that. Yeah, I'm really, really grateful and just really fired up about that too. So aside from that, no, I think we've kind of covered the gist of what's going on. Other than that, just looking forward to getting out and continuing to shoot the wildflowers, and looking forward to getting up on Timpanogos in a month or 2 here, and maybe back over Alta, Brighton area as the high elevation flowers kick in, and just continuing to get some of the shots I've been after locally.
I think one thing you don't get enough credit for is every time I see like one of your photos on Ask Midway or however it pops up in my feed, I always sit and think, where did he go to get that? Because I've been I did snowmobiles and ATV rentals, and I've been in a lot of the places, both Wasatch and Uintas, and every time I'm trying to pinpoint where that is, and when I'm driving through Provo Canyon, I'll look up and I'm like, oh, that has to be where he went. And so I think one thing you don't get enough credit for is you're probably getting people out there like, oh, I've got to go find out where he took this picture. I've got to see this for myself.
Well, hopefully it's inspiring. My work is inspiring people to get out and hike and go out and sniff the flowers. And, I've done a lot of work with a lot of interior designers to put work in some hospitals and stuff locally.
Cool.
And in Salt Lake Valley and a lot of the IHC hospitals. And I have had a few people say to me, hey, it really helped me out to see that, to see your photos in the hospital. And so hopefully there's some therapeutic value to the art as well. But if nothing else, I'm always excited to get people out and chasing. I don't always put a GPS coordinate and everything to exactly
Here
where
in the corner. If you can read this is the GPS coordinate of where I took this picture.
But get out and search. There's a lot of stuff out there to see, and oftentimes even though I may not post an exact location to my shots, people can see the potential, and they can, see the combination of flowers, the lake, and the mountain, and it inspires people to get out and do something similar, and that makes me happy.
So with the shows, and I see the 501c3, are you guys in need of volunteers, people to help?
Yes, we are still in need of a few helpers for both Midway and mostly Heber.
Okay.
Heber's a big one. Setting up, we have a helper duties would be just kind of helping people move their gear around.
Kind of like showing them where their space is.
Yeah, showing them where their space is.
Dollying people.
Booth sitters. We always use a few more booth sitters. Folks that can go around and give the artists breaks.
Oh, okay.
That aren't,
So for the evening, for the night, they obviously are going to pack up their wares, but the booth will stay there.
The booths will stay there. There will be a security detail that will patrol.
Oh, good to know.
For the night.
Yeah, we had the same security guys that do the Salt Lake Farmers Market downtown Salt Lake. These guys are awesome, and that's who we've been working with for security.
I dare you to go down there and walk around and get tased.
I'm all right.
I'll follow with a video camera.
I ain't been tased in a while. I'm all right. Okay, well, fantastic. I provided all the links in the chat, and for those of you who are going to be listening to the podcast, and yes, this is a podcast. We do put out the audio shortly after on Spotify, Amazon Music. I'll make sure that in the description we have links to the events, to Johnny's website, and to the Wasatch Back Art Festival website.
And then some of the upcoming
Yes.
people we've had on, I've talked with Lindsay Jefferson.
Okay.
She has wrote a book locally, and I know she's had a strong battle with addiction. And so I think that's what this is all about. And I've just got to nail it down a time, but she'll possibly be our guest next week.
We haven't had an author yet. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yep. I did some work for her in her home for her furnace system, and met her husband. And then I knew a little bit about her, and then this book popped up. And I was like, we need that.
Love it.
We need that. And for everybody, like I said, be patient. July 1st, we will be out of this location.
Oh.
And maybe that's why I need to build I need to get my big trailer and just soundproof it, and then we can put it in there. We can have a mobile one. But we're moving back over to the airport, but I think I'm going to build a couple of offices, and then my office will be on top of the two offices, and we'll try to do a little better with the sound room.
Cool. You're moving your whole business up.
This is nice. We wanted an office, and I didn't have a heated garage, which was really not fun this winter. But both my wife and our dispatch gal is going to work remotely.
Okay.
Andrea works remotely 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So you don't need an office.
Yeah.
A place of business.
I want to have a heated shop again. Yep.
Don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
Understandably so. Okay, everybody at home, we do have stickers for sale. Living that Timp Knife, the Wasatch Way. Proud to be from Heber Valley.
I had to brand that right there.
Right there.
Perfect. $2 each.
There we go.
All funds. Oh, I hit the camera this time.
There we go.
Nice. Love it. All funds go to help just keep the podcast going, rocking and rolling. Hopefully make us mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Working on it.
All right.
Guys.
Thank you guys.
Yes,
very
thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thanks,
having
John,
us.
Jeremy.
Spread the word.
Appreciate it, guys.